Hello, hello. So ASMR.
So ASMR.
I hear you at every breath.
And welcome.
Oh my god.
Welcome back.
Welcome back to day 2 of the Softball Australia Cup. We're back at Downy Park in Brisbane's north. It's another steamy day here in the River City with temperatures tipped to be around 30 degrees, similar to what we saw yesterday. Today's first match will be a cracker. It's a competition between New Zealand and Japan. And for a bit more about what happened yesterday, Eric, I'm over to you.
Thank you so much, Georgie. Really excited to hear from you a little later on. Eric Balnar and Olympic bronze medalist Justine Smithhurst here with you calling the action. Justine, yesterday, Japan won the day, right? They won both their games. They beat Australia in a great game in the nightcap, but they started their day with a 12-0 win over New Zealand. And we were chatting before, and for you, it was all about the start in a 12-0 win. What did you like about the way that Japan started the game?
Japan certainly turned up with clear intent in that first game, scoring 9 runs in that first innings. What I really loved about them was they took the extra bases when they were given to them, and the strength of their lineup from 1 through to 9 was just phenomenal. From a defensive point of view, the pitchers got ahead early in their count, and they threw a lot of that off-speed change-up, which really took the New Zealand team off guard. So I'm just really looking forward to seeing what they continue to bring for us today.
You're seeing some highlights right now of that first inning. It started with that small ball stretching singles into doubles. It ended with a home run, 9 runs in the first inning total. They win the game 12-0. But after the first inning, New Zealand were quite competitive. Their starting pitcher, and Brittany Terry, she was excellent on the mound, or the relief pitcher later on in the game. What did you like from a positive standpoint from New Zealand?
Yeah, despite the rough start, Brittany Terry certainly showed improvement from, the second and third innings. As a battery, New Zealand were able to get ahead a little bit more in that second and third innings. From a batting point of view, they also got more ball on bat, and deeper into the counts, which was great.
Well, it certainly looks like a lot more of a relaxed New Zealand team to what we saw yesterday. You've heard from the Olympic medalist in Justine Smithhurst, but Georgie, our third member of our crew, had an opportunity to talk to both of the coaches. Georgie, what do you got for us?
Eric, it was really interesting talking to the New Zealand team. They saw a lot of positives after yesterday's 2 matches, and they're keen to build on that momentum today. They really feel like there's a lot that they can take out of the losses, and they're just excited to be playing such a high quality of international softball. When it came to the Japanese team, they are focused on process over outcome. There was an incredible sense of calm in that camp, and there's also the realization that they're dealing with an acclimatization factor. It's winter in Japan, it's cold, and they've come into a really hot, sticky environment, and it's going to take a little bit of time to warm up.
Well, that's some good stuff, Georgie. I appreciate that. That's some interesting context, Justine, and particularly noting, I think, the time of year that it is for Japan, because probably something I didn't think about yesterday. We're in the middle of a softball season in Australia. Japan's just building towards their summer season when everything starts to kick off. It would be a weird adjustment coming in an out-of-season tournament and having to play against an international caliber competition.
Yeah, I think from an Australian point of view, it's something that we're also used to, because a lot of our international tournaments are in America, which means we're going from a winter over to a USA summer. So it's something that we've had to adapt to over the years of playing.
And it was interesting comments, too, about just the positives, being able to find building blocks from this New Zealand team. And you touched on it earlier, and I think probably today, Brittany Terry was the big positive for me in the circle yesterday for New Zealand coming in. Only gives up three runs, 2 of them earned. She seemed to be this nice calming influence later in the game.
Yeah, we certainly saw that there were more strikes thrown in that second and third inning, which resulted in less runs on the scoreboard for Japan. So it would be good to see them continue those improvements throughout this game.
Well, the Japanese team being announced on field right now, it is a team loaded with professional stars and World Cup talent. Natsumi Fujimura will lead things off. She was the MVP of the Diamond League not too long ago. Risa Kawamura, she'll bat second. Iri Shimoyama will bat third. Sayari Yamauchi will bat fourth. Yui Nakamizo will play third and bat fifth. Kanakudo, a player that you really liked yesterday, more on her later, will bat sixth. Another MVP of a Diamond League. Shio Suto went 3 for 3 in a game versus Australia last night. She bats seventh. Hitaro Tsukamoto, she's a home run champion in the Diamond League. She's won a world championship. And Ueno's personal catcher, Kumi Ide, will round things out in the lineup. Ueno, one of the most legendary names of all time in softball. It's just a big honor to be the catcher. It is a lineup that you said came out with intent, a little different than the lineup we saw versus New Zealand yesterday. All of them caliber players. Justine, as a pitcher at the highest of levels, I don't know if there is any secret to try to navigate a Japanese lineup. They can all hit the ball hard. What can make your life easier as a pitcher against a lineup like Japan's?
I've said this a few times already, but it's really about getting ahead early in the count. And I think if we look at yesterday's game, Japan versus Australia, Kaya did a really good job of getting ahead early in the count and mixing with that rise ball just outside of the zone, getting them to have nibbles at that pitch as well really was effective in yesterday's game versus Oz.
Justine's key to the game, the first pitch strikes. Get yourself up, set yourself up for the rest of the at-bat. For the New Zealand White Sox, the starting lineup is as follows. Marama Makia will bat first. Lara Andrews bats second. Lace Tongiano will bat third. Tiarn Bromhead Lumalu will bat fourth. Ivani Gibson batting fifth. Haley Breakwell, batting sixth. Lise Pettit batting seventh. Alyssa Laurie eighth. And Poppy Priddle bumps down the lineup to 9. A couple lineup changes, but yesterday's lineup versus Japan, Justine, was a lot of debutantes, probably just getting them into the game, feeling the tournament a little bit. More of your A-plus lineup today. Obviously, a couple notable omissions from the lineup, but this looks like a lot more experienced side for New Zealand today.
Yeah, it certainly looks like they've put the experience back into that starting 9, which is good to see. Lara Andrews re-entering in. She had a pinch hit yesterday and managed to get on, so always leading from the front there. And Haley Breakwell as well. So I'm really interested to see how these guys really turn it around from yesterday and bring it to Japan.
They are going to have to go against a pitcher who pitched, 12:30 local time. She finished her outing on the mound about 14 hours ago in Nakamura on the mound. It was her first international appearance for the Japanese starting pitcher. She allowed 3 runs in the first inning, but then effectively shut Australia down after there. I'm sure it was some jitter and nerves for the Japanese starter too.
Yeah, most certainly, and I think we also need to remember that we're all human here, and if that, the pitcher's first outing yesterday with 3 runs scored by Australia, they aren't untouchable, Japan. So it's just about, the batters putting pressure on that battery and on their defense.
We'll be down soon on the sideline with Georgie and a player before the game. That is coming up, so don't go anywhere before first pitch. But Haruna Nakamura ends up pitching 5 innings yesterday. She allows just the 1 earned run, 3 runs total. Did get a lot of ground balls, but she's a university star. Had one of the all-time best performances in Japanese university history. More on that a little bit later, but I think standing by on the field in a hot minute here. Let's go down to Georgie Trickett right now with a New Zealand player.
Thank you, Eric. I've got Erin Blackmore with me here. And Erin, this is actually a diamond you're very familiar with.
Yes, it is. I actually played here from about the ages of 15 through to sort of 18 up here.
And what's it like being back on a home ground diamond for you?
I've got mixed feelings. It's wicked to look up at the crowd and see familiar faces. I haven't seen these people in 8 or 9 years, so it's really nice to see them come down and support not only Australia but also me personally. But it's also kind of nerve-wracking, like you leave somewhere and then you come back and you feel like you almost have not a point to prove, but you feel like you have to make a bit of a statement coming back.
And how excited are New Zealand for this game?
We're always so excited to play Japan. They're the best in the world. We seldom get opportunities like this. Flights are expensive. We're out by ourselves on a little island. So to come here and play against a team like Japan 4 times in a series is just surreal for us.
Well, we can't wait to see what today brings. Thanks, Erin.
Awesome, thank you.
I mean, say no more. That was awesome from Erin Blackmore returning home, and she probably summed it up the best. What an opportunity it is to play the world's best. I'm sure opportunities that you relished every time you got to go against the best in your sport.
Yeah, definitely. And Erin, I certainly don't feel like it was that many years ago that you were on this field in a Bears uniform. It's great as a spectator to see you back on this field at Downy Park.
Yeah, Erin Blackmore, if you walk into the club rooms here right behind us, not too far where we're covering this game, Justine Smethurst, your name's on the board, but her name's on it twice as a player. So you just got trumped by Erin Blackmore, who's out there now. But let's play some softball. It should be a good one. Brittany Terry, the woman in the circle for the New Zealand White Sox, dressed all in black today, going against the Japanese world number ones. It's Natsumi Fujimura leading things off. And let's play some softball. And you said at the top, Justine, key is to throw a first pitch strike, and that's exactly what she does to start the game.
That is exactly the start we were looking for.
Terry came in and pitched the final 3 and change versus Japan yesterday after a shaky beginning for probably the whole New Zealand team. I don't think anybody will say they had their best stuff in that first inning, but you saw what they were made of in the later portions of that game. Fujimura knocks one towards center field. She has a look at two. You saw a leadoff single stretch into a double yesterday. And there you go. A misplay on the cutoff, and it cost them an extra base. There's a runner on second.
Again, Japan taking those extra bases where they're given. And I think from that pitch, there was probably just a little bit too much ball over the plate.
Yeah, you can't make those kind of mistakes versus players like Fujimura. She's been an MVP of the Diamond League before. Well, Risa Kawamura steps up to the plate. A lot of lefties you're going to notice in this Japanese lineup. I think in the starting lineup they had versus Japan yesterday, there were 8 left-handed batters in the starting 9.
Yeah, there was, which resulted in a lot of hits to the right side of the diamond. So we'll see if history repeats itself here.
Kawamura plays her softball with Bic Camera, one of the most successful professional clubs in Japanese softball. Just joining us and maybe tuning in for your first game, you'll hear a lot about these companies that these Japanese players compete for, and they're effectively employees of massive companies in the softball division.
Yeah, so they're all employees by big companies over in Japan, Honda, Toyota. I played for a company called Sagawa, which is a transport company, and that's just dropped in front of right field.
Alyssa Laurie made a good stabbing attempt at it. It was enough to hold the runner at third. Nothing too hard hit, but either way, it's going to be 2 singles to start the game for Japan.
Yeah, and pitch location on that one wasn't too bad. The ball just managed to get on the handle of that, which is very typical of Japanese-style hitting too. Getting those Texas Leaguers landing right on the outside of the dirt, just on the start of the grass area.
So Brittany Terry has some work to do. Has runners on first and third, and they go first pitch swinging with Iri Shimoyama. It'll drop, and it'll be the first run of the game. Some good team batting.
Yeah, despite being a deep fly outfield ball, I like the way Terry was able to come back with a strike first pitch on that one.
We have runners on first and third. You sort of expect that someone is going to score. It sort of shifts into a damage minimization mode, doesn't it?
Yeah, and with first and third, it was interesting that the batter actually swung at that first pitch rather than, seeing what movements the fielders were making on that play.
Here's Sari Yamauchi, She was part of the 2018 World Cup team, has sort of worked her way back onto the senior squad of Japan. Now she's facing Brittany Terry, the 25-year-old. She's got some college experience as well. Here is a fake throw to second, ends up going back to first, just trying to keep the runner in check.
Yeah, and I think from yesterday's game, the Japanese team were taking really long leads off the base, so it's good to see New Zealand putting them back in their place this game.
That ball slips past Devonnie Gibson, the teenager who's catching behind the plate. What a cool moment for Gibson, who also has links to this field too. She played for Saints, one of the 10 clubs that play in the Brisbane Softball Association. Left when she was 13 or 14 to New Zealand. Now she's catching for the national team as a 17-year-old. Yamauchi puts a charge into this one. Poppy Priddle moving back, and it's over the scoreboard. That ball was crunched, and Japan jump out to a 3-0 lead.
Yamauchi certainly got the middle of that ball on that pitch. Sat just a little bit high up on the inside.
I think that one you can see on the replay. Is that over the scoreboard? It is.
Over the scoreboard, yes.
That has hit a long way.
Yeah, I think the pitch probably just sat a little bit low for a rise ball. Maybe the rotation wasn't sharp enough to beat the bat of Yamauchi.
Yamauchi felt sort of due. She was 0 for 5 yesterday, had a few good at-bats and hard-hit balls, and she's batting number 4 in the Japanese lineup for a reason. You sort of thought that, yeah, you're going to be hard done by if you saw her go another 0 for day today, especially after she didn't strike out yesterday. It was just putting balls in play.
But in saying that, it also shows the level of trust and belief the coach Tsugi has with keeping her in that number 4 spot in the lineup coming back into day 2.
Here is Yui Nakamaizo. Played in the group stage of the 2023 and 24 World Cup cycle for Japan. Helped them win gold at the Asian Games. I loved off the top of the broadcast you heard about how the New Zealand players were just excited for this opportunity, and it really is a big difference in the level of softball in terms of how they approach the game and the abilities they have, because all of these players on Japan are professional players. They work for teams or companies. Now we're having a quick word out in the circle. What are you seeing, Justine?
What I think we're seeing is, well, that pitch in particular, it looked like Terry was throwing maybe a rise ball or a screw ball. The ball seemed to just bounce off her hip on the release. However, after yesterday's game with a couple of no balls called, it was because of the pitchers actually stepping outside of the pitching track, which is something that umpires seem to be calling more and more.
So a quick word there as well, but on that point from before, Japan filled with professionals. New Zealand players like Brittany Terry, they went to college, they played 4 years over in the United States, played some D1, but now they are juggling full-time softball duties with their club, with their country, with their state association, for lack of a better word, but they've also got full-time jobs. I mean, Brittany Terry's a real estate agent. You got to balance work, you got to balance life, you got to balance family, you got to balance softball.
Yeah, 100%. If she's a real estate agent, I'm sure she was probably taking calls after the game yesterday evening. So it just doesn't stop, and it's a shame that both the Australian and the New Zealand team don't get to be full-time athletes.
Yeah, you'd love to see what they can do, because you see the ability of someone like a Brittany Terry. But here's Kanakudo up to bat right now. She has won an MVP in the Diamond League. In fact, she's one of the most clutch players in the Japanese softball ranks.
Yeah, Kanakudo was actually one of my favourite players yesterday in that game against Australia. She really was a spark for them, starting the hitting rally in that 2nd and 4th innings. So it'll be interesting to see her bring that again to today's game.
Ends up going 3 for 3. Now she splashes one to left field. Lise Pettit moves back on it, chucks the ball back in. There is a second out, so a walk and a fly out since the home run to Yamauchi, and now there's 2 outs on the board with just 1 on base.
That's a really strong out for Terry there. Kana's hits yesterday were mainly to the right side of the field, so to get that fly ball to left field, I think, is a really good result.
Doesn't get any easier in the lineup. This is the 7-hole hitter in Shiho Suto. Went 3 for 3 yesterday, and she led Japan in batting at their recent World Cup where they won gold. Now she bats 7 in the lineup.
For someone in form that much to be in the 7th number in the
Seeing why she
Japan
puts
lineup.
contact to center, and a nice play from Poppy Priddle. Sorry, Justine, but yeah, you're right. It's a good.
I was just going to say that that's a really good outcome for New Zealand to close the rest of that innings and really put a stop to that, stop to those runs coming through from Japan.
Well, Japan end up scoring 3 in the first inning. One was an absolute moonshot from Sayori Yamauchi. It's going to happen versus this Japanese national team, but they do limit them to 3 in the first inning. We've seen New Zealand hold Japan in the later stages of that last game. They're not chasing 9 runs like they were after the first inning this time, and they now get a turn to bat. Already looking a lot more confident and probably settled than what we saw yesterday.
Yeah, their personas on the field definitely looked a lot calmer, watching them from the outset. That's definitely shown in that first innings. There were less pass balls. There was just a lot more control from the pitchers, even more chat on the field from the players. So it's really good to see that kind of turnaround from New Zealand.
Well, in the circle right now is Haruna Nakamura. She is making her senior Japanese team debut, and she's still young. She's 24 years old, but feels a little late for a player of her caliber to be making the debut, but it also speaks to the quality they have in her club team back at home. She ended with the Shinogi Rainbow Storks, I believe they're called. Is it Storks? The Rainbow Storks? It's a good team name.
Let's go with
Let's go with the Rainbow Storks. But she had some big performances versus a couple of the top teams, including Toyota, the Red Terriers. She beat them in the game. She's sort of got attention by pitching her university team to their first ever national championship, and she was the star of that player. She had a no-hitter in her university days as well. So she's an ultra competitor. She pitched last night, making her debut against the Aussie Spirit. Rough first inning, really settled from there. Allowed 1 earned run over 5 innings. What did you like about her last night from watching her in the circle?
I really liked how she was able to turn around and stay focused after, a bit of a wobblier start. I think she was able to bring back that ball control and, as Itsugi said, stay within the process.
That was a great quote at the start of it that we had Georgie Trickett on the field bring to us. It's about the process, not necessarily the result. And you hear so many great coaches in this game talk about that. Don't worry about the outcome. Worry about how you approach the game, and good things will seem to happen.
100%. If you get the process right, then the outcomes will take care of themselves.
Marama Makia. She leads things off for New Zealand. Graduate of Eastern Illinois University. That's an NCAA Division I school. Graduated in 2024. Moved back to New Zealand, become a police constable in that time. But this is her first senior cap as well. And she's going to get a base hit up the middle. A new leadoff hitter, and they're going to work right away. Makia. That'll feel good in the New Zealand dugout.
That's a great start for Makia in New Zealand, really seeing that inside pitch and being able to take it through the middle of the field.
You go from a debutante this weekend to one of the more experienced players ever in New Zealand international softball. Last year she became the 13th player in White Sox history to reach over 100 international games. It's Dr. Lara Andrews.
It'll be interesting to see what New Zealand do if they go for the traditional style bunt, given the scoreline, or they let Lara hit away.
What do you think the decision making? What factors would go into that decision making if you were to bunt versus let her hit away?
Well, I think for Lara, she's a player with so much power.
Yeah, you don't want to take the bat out of her hands necessarily.
That's exactly right.
That age-old question. Your number 2 hitter, lots of times one of your better hitters on the team for this exact reason. You get a runner on base, a good chance to move them over. But you have two pretty good batters in Tungiano and Bromhead Lamalu, who will follow. Up the middle. Throw goes wonky, and New Zealand might have a couple players on the base paths. There was a scramble off the bag.
And that's what happens when you put pressure on the field. Lara started with a really open stance on that pitch, managed to shorten up on the bat, put the play in field and create.
New Zealand already have as many base runners as they had in the game against Japan in its entirety. They've done it before recording an out. Here, they put pressure on the base path, just like you said, Justine Smethurst. Put the ball in play. Good things seem to happen. Lace Tungiano, one of the more promising prospects and already stars of New Zealand softball. Recognized as the emerging player of the year last year in the Softball New Zealand circles. Now she lays down the bunt down the line. Encroaching in to make the play was Shimoyama, but that's job done. You'd think, Justine, get two runners in scoring position?
Yeah, that's definitely job done there. Lace did a really good job to get that rise ball down on the ground into that first base player. Sometimes a bunt is just as good as a safe hit in that situation.
Here is Bromhead Lamalu. Another player making her international debut at the senior level. Plays for Auckland in the Fast Pitch Championships, her club team, the Roosters. Now she's got runners on second and third versus the world number one. Pretty cool moment for the 21-year-old on debut.
Eric, I don't know if you can see it, but I can certainly see a different level of confidence in this New Zealand team who've turned up today.
Well, they've come out with that aggressive intent. And she goes swinging. And the hitters count. Bromhead Lamalu has come through the development program. She's played for under 15 teams in junior White Sox squads. Big chance versus the best in the world, which breaks on the outside and it induces a swing.
Yeah, the Japanese battery are really keeping that tight on that outside for Tian.
Good test for the Japanese rookie as well. 2-2 count. And a good eye. She swung at that pitch on the last one and lays it off here. Full count. Runners on second and third. World number one in the circle. Cool moment here for the White Sox. She puts the ball in play. They're going to check the runner at third, and they're going to get her out. A great play from Shio Sotu moving in to check the runner. Makia thinks she may have slid under the tag, and the umpires are going to confer over this. Heads up defense, though, by the second basewoman. See if the play we want to see is back at third, right here. Yeah. Tough to see from that angle.
That is.
This one might show it. Runner's staying on the bag. Ooh. That
was very close.
It didn't look as close from up here, but on that replay.
Yeah, Makia was one short step off getting back on that play and would have protected that runner at 1-2.
Still two runners on base, but one taken out of scoring position. It's a big-time defensive play from Japan to alleviate a little bit of pressure. Base hit, though, from Gibson.
Yeah, it's always nice as a pitcher when you get the runner out at 3. Takes the pressure off.
Bonnie Gibson, one of the younger members of this team. She turned 17 years old on January 7th, just a couple weeks ago. Had some pop off the bat there, but she's grown up playing on this field before moving to New Zealand. She was the Emerging Player of the Year in 2025. Won all kinds of MVPs in her junior career, rising the ranks, playing softball for the Saints and Hutt Valley. Must be sort of a surreal moment to stand back on a diamond where you've had at-bats before, but now against the world #1.
Yeah, in a different uniform. I think it would feel a lot different to when she was here last time, that's for sure.
And she got her. That ends the threat. Nakamura bends but doesn't break. Some big-time defense and then a strikeout to end the inning. Keeps it a 3-0 lead, but New Zealand pressure.
Yeah, New Zealand definitely came out stronger this morning. I think their pitch selection was much better with the bats too. They went deeper into the counts. They put the ball in play, managed to force an error out of the Japan team. It was a shame about that runner at 3. That could have changed the outcome for them at the end. But what a great start for New Zealand.
Yeah, you mentioned something you can't always quantify in softball. There's a lot of stats that can back up a lot of things, but one is just energy. And you did know they look more confident. They're just a bit of a different feel around New Zealand.
Yeah, they certainly look more confident. I mean, after scoring 9 runs in an innings, it's hard to stay up. When you're playing a team like Japan. From the moving forward from that. But I love the way New Zealand have obviously gone home, reflected on the game yesterday, put a game plan together, and come out and are executing that game plan. They should be really proud of how they've started.
We'll see how they deal with the 8, 9, and 1, as the 1 will be the second time through, and they've got to get through a few players with pedigree. Hataro Tsukamoto will lead things off first. She's won 2 home run titles in the Diamond League. She's won a world championship, 3 hits yesterday.
Yeah. In the game against Australia yesterday, got a couple of hits to that right side on inside pitches. So it'll be interesting to see how Terry throws to Tsukamoto today.
She'll then have Kume Ide, who is Ueno's catcher, and then he goes back to the top of the lineup in Fujimori, who is the reigning MVP of the Diamond League. So anyone you say has some credentials, that's why you get selected for this national team, and they have a pick of a lot of players who could play for this squad on Team Japan.
Yeah, they certainly have the depth of players in Japan. It's reflective in their pro league that they have over there too.
Hard hit ball, a good block from Tangiano, and a race to the bag. Runner will be safe, but that was a hard hit ball. Even just to make it a competitive play from Lace Tangiano. I don't know how that'll be scored. For me, it might even be one of those borderlines. It's a hard hit ball.
Yeah, I think Tangiano did a really good job to get the ball, the glove to that ball and give themselves a chance at getting that out.
I was ready to call base hit to the right side. She just couldn't corral it cleanly.
Yeah, she turned hard on that inside pitch, didn't she, Tsukamoto?
That ball just bounced hard too, and now Tangiano will try to move her way in with Ide at the plate. The catcher at big camera. She's popped up into shallow right field. Moving in is Alyssa Laurie. Have to get the communication right on those kind of in-between balls, Justine.
Yes, they're always ones that are a little bit trickier, aren't they? They're ones that you spend endless amounts of time practicing.
Back to the top of the lineup in Natsumi Fujimura. Singled and scored her first time up to bat, was showing bunt. Gibson checks the runner. See those corners crashing in. Andrews at third, Tungiano at first. It's got to be menacing as a batter in the box. You have the pitcher who's standing obviously close to you, and then seeing two opposite colored jerseys just pile in towards you.
I think that's the idea.
Yeah, while you're trying to smoke. Yeah, just, yeah. Now they're trying to check the runner at first. It was a more competitive play than it first looked like it was going to be. Gibson with some confidence behind the plate.
Yeah, I like the way she's keeping these Japanese base runners honest, not letting them get that extra step on the base path.
Rio count. Terry finds herself behind here.
What's the signal here? Is it green light to swing, or are you holding off to see what comes down?
I think it's got to have bat on the shoulder here. And it'll be a free base. What would you have done? I mean, the pitch was the ball, but would you have had the green light?
I think from a pitching point of view, you've got to put a lot of ball on plate in that situation.
Risa Kawamura also singled and scored in her first plate appearance. Another lefty.
Another lefty. A good start for Terry, coming up with that first pitch strike.
It's one of your keys to success for New Zealand. Get ahead in counts. And now she's way ahead with an 0-2.
Yeah, I like how that second pitch, Terry's come in with that off speed. Haven't seen many of them so far this game. So I think that will prove to be an effective pitch for her if she continues to use that more and keep it a little bit lower in the zone.
That one a bit up, and it's flied out towards center field. Priddle brings it in. The throw over to third, and Priddle gets her. The 16-year-old in Poppy Priddle throws out the lead runner, and New Zealand chuck a 0 on the board.
Fantastic result. Terry got the soft fly to the outfield on that off-speed pitch, enabling the centre fielder to throw the runner out at 3. Exactly what New Zealand were after, and changing the momentum of the game. So we're shifting back over to New Zealand.
Well, New Zealand's certainly taking the game on today, aren't they? You've seen Gibson try to whip it around from behind the plate, and it's hard to throw a runner out from the outfielder, especially a team like Japan. We saw that. That's one of the reasons they won versus Australia yesterday. They had to come from 3-0 down. They just created pressure on the base paths, and New Zealand sort of sending a sign that saying, hey, we can take this away from you.
Yeah, it's almost a different team that's turned up today from New Zealand. They're sharper, they're more in control, their throws are on point. It's great to see.
The energy levels are big as Nakamura returns to the circle. There's a look at the New Zealand dugout coached by Craig Wallace. He's been in command for about a year and a half now for New Zealand as they're trying to build a program. They're going to be in the Group C of the World Cup this year in Oklahoma City. It's a tough group. So they're using this opportunity to find that right mix of players as Haley Breakwell steps up to the plate. Breakwell actually American-born, but to New Zealand sporting royalty. Her dad represented New Zealand in the Olympics in equestrian right here in Australia in the Sydney Games in 2000. She obviously has the dual citizenship despite growing up in the United States.
And this is Haley's first bat against Japan for the series. So it'll be interesting to see what she does in the box. Looks very controlled.
She's one of the more experienced members. She's been part of the senior squad for, well, this is now 10 years. 2016 was when she made her debut. 32. She coaches softball over in the United States. You noted that right off the top, Justine. Just a lot more experience today in this lineup versus Japan.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot more depth in this New Zealand team today.
Just missed. Popped up. The ball magnet in Suto makes the play, and there's one down. We'll bring up Lise Pettit. Made her debut at the Canada Cup in 2025. Went to West Coast Canada and played with this New Zealand White Sox team. Just had her 31st birthday as well. Plays with Wellington and Johnsonville for her club. New Zealand softball structure is an interesting one. As Pettit knocks one towards center left, that drops in for a base hit. And New Zealand have their 4th base runner of the afternoon. They've doubled up what they did against Japan yesterday.
Lisa did really well there to get her hands to that outside pitch. Just enough to pop it over the infield. Start that New Zealand are looking for.
Here's Alyssa Laurie, 23-year-old on her debut senior squad and appearance for the White Sox. See if they can manufacture some pressure. Laurie plays her club soft belt ball at Hallswell. The Canterbury Association. New Zealand structure a little bit different than what you might see in Australia, although quite a few similarities. But the big one is their national club championships, in which any club from around the country can enter. It's not, you might have state club championships here in Australia, but that's the big deal tournament. There's a lot of passion that gets put into that competition. You almost played in that one.
I almost played in that tournament. I played half a season in 2020 for the Ramblers softball club. So unfortunately that season got cut short with COVID.
Ramblers were going to win it too.
Yeah.
Could have been on the wall in that clubhouse as well.
Oh, what could have been.
They also have the national titles, which is a fast pitch competition. That's more your associations.
Now, I really like seeing a 2-strike adjustment here from Alyssa. She's going to do everything she can to put that ball in play and advance the runner at 1.
This is the bottom of the lineup for the White Sox. Look at that, another base runner, and now there are 2 runners aboard, including one in scoring position for the 16-year-old who just threw a runner out at third in Poppy Priddle. Everyone was really excited about Priddle. Debuted as a 15-year-old at the Canada Cup last year. Not just debuted, she was one of their stronger players in almost every statistic you could ask for. Showing bunt. She's got some speed as well. It's not a guarantee that you'd be able to throw her out if that bunt is executed too.
Yeah, with a runner at 1 and 2, I was interested to see what they were going to go with Priddle up to bat. I'm not surprised that they're looking towards the short game. Having quick runners both at second and at the plate.
Knocked towards the left side. They'll get 1. Can they turn 2? No. Priddle flew down the line. It's the benefit of speed. It'll be a 1-3 split. Runner advances to third.
Gee, she was quick to get herself down that to first base.
Yeah, that was right to the shortstop, Kanakudo, who's quickly becoming a star in this tournament.
Now with runners at first and third, I'm interested to see what Japan do in this scenario.
2 outs on the board as well from Makia. Had a single to start off the game before being thrown out on a bit of a rundown. Runner trying to steal second. Got her. A good throw from Ide, who's one of the best in the world at her position. New Zealand tried to push the play, and Poppy Priddle, the speedster, thrown out at second.
After seeing her speed up to 1, I just wasn't surprised that they chose to go for the steal to 2. But we're stealing against, one of the best arms in the world, so it's always going to be a hard one to beat.
Well, it's an exciting game so far. Georgie Trickett, though, our third member of the team, standing by. Georgie, what do you got?
Eric, I'm standing here with Keela Broomhead, who is the mum of a Test player on debut, Tian Bromhead Lee Malou. I hope I've said that correctly.
Nearly.
Oh, thank you. But Eric, the connection here is so much more because, Keela, you're actually a Test player yourself.
I am. Yeah, I retired from the White Sox around 2023. And now Tian is living on, our legacy, but her own legacy too.
What's it like to be a mum on the sidelines watching your girl out there on the diamond playing one of the world's best?
It's a different type of nervousness, to be honest. Like, you get a little bit anxious as a player and you have the nerves and everything, but being a mum's like a whole nother level. Like, you feel it as a player, but it just takes over as a mum. So, yeah, but I'm stoked to be able to be here and see what she's up to and just do her own thing for herself, yeah.
And it's been incredible to watch the New Zealand team this morning really come out and take it to Japan after yesterday's game.
Yeah, we had a good chat yesterday, and I think they really did get the eye-opener and sort of took away the learnings, and now I can see them coming out and putting it really in practice. So, yeah, it's really cool to see, and I've played alongside a lot of these girls, and they know what they're doing, so they just got to have the confidence to get out and go and do it.
Well, we're excited to see what happens next. Thanks so much for talking to us.
No worries, thank you.
Yeah, that's great, hearing a proud mum, former player.
I actually played with Keela in the Summer Slam many years ago. We played for the Panthers, and when the Summer Slam was in Sydney, so we managed to take out that championship. She caught to me.
Really?
Yes,
no way. That's a great connection.
I didn't even know she was here.
You should make sure you go say good day.
Go say hello after. Definitely.
So she caught you in the Summer Slam victory. That's awesome. Here is a second pitch swing from Iri Shimayama, and it is a quick out for Brittany Terry. That's the first time they've got the leadoff batter today.
Yeah, straight to business, which is what we like to see. Ahead early, getting Japan to swing.
Sayori Yamauchi hit the home run, and it was a home run in a lot of different fields. That ball was crunched over the scoreboard. The scoreboard almost doubles the size of the fence you see in right field.
Yeah, I like how Vani started the pitch there with that change of pace, just to get Yamauchi offside.
And a little ear music. Don't think it
Maybe
was intentional.
Maybe not the second pitch they were aiming for, but I'm sure that will set up the next pitch.
Yamauchi plays for Hitachi Sun Diva. Gets her swinging. One of the taller players on the Japanese team as well. That ball just missed.
Yeah, Terry working really hard to find her corners on this batter. Just being mindful not to put too much ball over the plate, given the last at-bat.
Walk me through that as a pitcher. If you've just given up, not that you would have ever given up a home run, Justine Smethurst.
Oh, I've given up many a home run.
Well, there you go. There's a good pitch, trying to pull a string there. But, yeah, that's got to be an interesting mentality, knowing that early in the game someone got to you and now you got to face them again.
Yeah, I think it's just about learning from that pitch prior that got hit over and working out what the batter's strength is and putting less ball over the plate.
Just maybe lost the feel of that last pitch.
That last pitch looked to be a change-up, so I think Gibson had the right idea in terms of the sequence of pitches to that batter. It was just the execution wasn't there.
Nakamizo steps up to the plate on the gold at the Asian Games. Star of Denso Bright Pegasus. Denso actually did a tour of Australia about just before COVID hit in 2020. Played in a couple states, including South Australia. They wanted to come over and get some preseason work in, and they were greeted by 43-degree heat that they played, and they didn't cancel any trainings. They just went out there earlier and trained just as long.
And we're already talking about the adaptability of going from a winter to summer. I mean, we're sitting in, early 30s at the moment in Queensland.
With no sun, and it's hot.
With no sun. 43 is just a massive jump up from that, isn't it?
No humidity, though, so you know. Just sunburn. What's the difference in how it feels from pitching? I mean, their season will start in the cold. It'll be just starting to warm up as well. What's the difference as a pitcher feeling that out when you're in the middle of a summer versus in winter-like conditions?
Oh gosh, I'd choose summer conditions over winter any day. I remember the first couple of weeks in Japan, we'd play in it was snowing, and as a pitcher, I remember not being able to hold the ball or feel the ball off my fingertips. It was just so hard to keep warm.
Pitch on the outside, so a couple of walks after retiring the first batter as runners on first and second for former MVP of the Diamond League in Kanakudo. In fact, this batter, it's a tricky one. I think we might have a change as well.
Yeah, I think this is the right call for New Zealand, just to slow the game down a little bit.
I mean, Danica Fariso out to right field. Alyssa Laurie is the one walking off. I wonder if it means it's going to be a pitching change or it's a straight substitution.
Yeah, we haven't had a pitching change, but this is actually a good opportunity for Terry and Gibson to just discuss the last couple of batters and maybe regroup after the two walks.
Gibson, just a young player, and as a catcher being tasked to sort of being the commander-in-chief of a lot of experience on the mound and with the pitcher.
Yeah, and you notice with the New Zealand team, they don't wear the armbands like the Australian team, either do the Japanese team, so it looks like she's calling the game by herself behind the plate.
Here's a big-time batter. One of the more clutch in recent memory. Hit a solo shot to win a Diamond League title back in 2022 with big camera. And a walk-off single versus the USA in a World Cup. He's a trusted player.
Yeah, Kana had a really good outing yesterday. Her first at-bat today, Terry managed to get a fly ball to left field on an outside pitch, which was a really good result. So hoping for the same thing again.
She's behind here, though. Good hitters count. Now she's well behind 3-0. Just struggling to find the zone right now. A bit of a patch for Brittany Terry. So she can groove one over the plate. The bases are loaded. The woman who went 3 for 3 in a game last night, Shiho Suto. World Cup leader in batting for Japan.
And the New Zealand infield are regrouping now.
One of those scenarios you don't want to beat yourself. Ball in play likely scores a run. Now it's just damage minimization. Don't let a 1-run inning become a 4-run inning, or a 2-run inning become a 5-run inning.
Yeah, squeeze the batter, get the runner at home.
Pressure moment here for Brittany Terry. New Zealand have hung tough with the world #1 so far. This is up.
Yeah, the ball's just slightly off the plate, aren't they? They're just missing.
Ball over to second. They have a look at home. They'll trade the out for the run. Probably the right decision from Makia.
Yeah, despite Makia not getting the runner at home, I think Terry did a really good job. She did her job there with that batter and got the infield hit, which is what New Zealand would have wanted out of that play.
She hasn't given up a hit since an infield single that led off the second inning.
In that replay, it almost looked like there was an opportunity to tag that runner running to 2 as well.
And things happen quickly, though, don't they, at this level?
Very.
We've heard coaches and we've heard people talk about that. You know, things speed up, whether when you go from state to the national team or from club to state teams, whatever it is. Every level you go up goes quicker, and that's what people comment around it as Tsukamoto takes a pitch. You got to live that at every level of the game. Is it true what they say? Do things speed up? Is it quicker?
I think things speed up if you choose to let them speed up. I think, and especially when you're playing, you know, a 1-2 or whatever team, you should just stay within yourself and the way that you play the game. Stick within what you can control. The ball is the same, the bat is the same, the field is the same.
I like that. Dictate. Sounds like you like to dictate some tempo when you were pitching, Justine.
Yeah, it's definitely all about process and routine.
I heard the Japanese coaching staff. Georgie Trickett had some great comments from that, from talking to Mitsugi, the coach of the Japanese national team, long-time coach as well. She's won a lot of medals at different levels of the game, but saying, yeah, just this is about process for Japan here. Results will follow.
Yeah, and she's very right. Every member of that Japanese team would know what role they have to play in every game.
Well, there was a base to give, and it's another walk. So 4 walks in the inning. And that'll be the end of the day for Terry. She induced a lot of soft contact, but struggled to throw strikes in this last inning. But now she has pitched almost 6 innings versus Japan so far this week. She's given up 7 runs total. A few of them were unearned. But Japan, who have come out smashing the ball left, right, and center, sort of limited their damage a little bit against a player like Brittany Terry.
Yeah, I think Terry did really well to contain the Japanese team. The at-bats of these Japanese girls looked very different to their at-bats yesterday. Particularly early on in the game, she got ahead in the count. It wasn't until, you know, the later part where, you know, we probably saw a few more walks and deeper counts for the batters, which is why New Zealand are looking to make a change here.
Well, if you're going to make a change, you may as well go to the best. And if you ask people in New Zealand who the best player might be right now, well, there's actually an award for that. The Softball New Zealand Women's Player of the Year and Pitcher of the Year, 2 separate awards, both of them won in 2025 by this woman, Tanisha Hokamo. Hokamo pitched 19 innings at the Canada Cup, allowed just 3 earned runs. She's played some college softball in her time. She's pitched her club to a championship in the last club championships in 2025, being part of the World Cup qualifiers. Yeah, the player of the year feels like a good choice to go with bases loaded, 2 out when you're looking for some damage minimization.
Definitely, if you're looking for someone to have trust in this situation, Tanisha's the person for New Zealand at the moment.
Okamo, big moment for her going against Kumi Ide.
And way to come in with that first pitch strike.
She's closed out championships. She's pitched bulk innings on the international stage. Can she keep New Zealand in the fight? Ball slips away. Runner was thinking about advancing home. Good job from Gibson to get back on that.
Yeah, she bounced really well with that pitch.
Base hit. Could score multiple runs. Ground ball gets them out of the inning with just 1. Anytime you can concede 4 free bases in an inning and only allow 1 run, it's almost a moral victory.
Yeah, that last pitch was actually quite nice. It tailed down like a high drop ball. But you can definitely see the rotation from the pitch.
Georgie in our ear right now, right by the New Zealand dugout, saying there's a lot of positive chat and energy coming from the dugout towards Okamo. And it's a walk, so the walk will equal a run. No place to put her. And the lead expands to 5 for Japan.
As a pitcher, it's always hard to come into this kind of situation, loaded bases. You know, your first outing against Japan too. I think Tanisha just needs to concentrate on just imagining, just seeing the catcher's glove and not focusing on anything outside of that at the moment.
Back to the top of the lineup. Natsumi Fujimori. She's played some excellent defense on the weekend so far as well. She's made an imprint with the bat today. She's 1 for 1 with a walk and a run. It's the 8th batter in the lineup in this inning here in the 3rd. Still just battling the strike zone a little here for Okamo. Oh, gets the strike, gets the ground ball, a great trap and a great flip. Haley Breakwell, bare hands, the flip from Makia. It limits the damage, and it's a highlight reel play.
What a great display of fielding by Makia, and even better receiving from Breakwell.
Wow.
She was not going to let that ball pass her, that's for sure.
There's a lot to unpack here. The backhanded glove, the flip from the glove, and the catch with the bare hand. That is an unbelievable play and just a gritty effort from the 2 players in the middle of the infield.
And that's high quality international softball. That's what we like to see, those kind of plays. And that's why these girls are in the national team representing their country.
We have Ueno's catcher bolting down towards second base, and you have the MVP of the Diamond League that put that ball in play as well. And if that ball gets through, it's probably 2 runs based on where they were running. That saves a pair of runs, and it's because of a ridiculous backhand play with a bare hand catch.
Yeah, that was a big moment play for New Zealand.
Backhand to bare hand, that's awesome. I hope somebody cuts that up. That is a highlight that deserves to be shared around. You'd feel so good. I'm sure as a pitcher, too, that's got to give you a jolt when you see your defense play like that.
Oh, 100%. And even just to have the side away after that play, take that momentum into the batting box for the New Zealand team, it just really shifts that energy, which is going to help. And I'm, love to see the result of that in the New Zealand lineup now, how they take it into their batting innings.
Marama Makia, who was right in the middle of that play, quite literally, will lead things off. She ended the last inning at the plate as a runner was thrown out trying to steal second. New Zealand, to their credit, They've been caught twice on the base paths in this game, but they have not been afraid to try to test this Japanese team with some pressure on the base paths. To Japan's credit, they've been 2 great plays to throw them out.
Yeah, on Makaya's last at-bat, she hit that nice ball just over shortstop from the outside pitch. First couple of pitches looks like Japan are attacking her on the inside. Maybe to push her off the plate and then move to that outside pitch.
A ground ball to the right side. We've got a quick update potentially down on the field of what's happening with Georgie. Georgie, you seen something down there. What do you got for us?
Yeah, I've just had a look at the bullpen and we can see Katsumata is definitely warming up for pitching. So it'll be interesting to see whether Japan bring her on later in the match.
I'd say there's a pretty good bet of that. Thanks, Georgie. That's a great tip. Katsumata twice came in yesterday to pitch in both of the games. Sort of that closing role she's sort of taken on. It was really good in stifling some momentum from Australia yesterday. It was the exact combo that got it done. It's a full count from Makia. Lara Andrews stands on deck. Lace Tongiano also due up this inning. New Zealand trying to find their first run of the tournament so far. They've come close today. Ball in play over towards shallow left field. Tsukamoto moves under, and there's 1 down and a lengthy at-bat.
Makia did well in that at-bat to hit strikes. Just under that last pitch.
They're longer at-bats than what we saw yesterday. It was just once that New Zealand had an at-bat of 6+ pitches versus Japan yesterday. So just flat out more competitive at-bats.
Yeah, more competitive at-bats, and we're not seeing many wild swings at balls. Japan threw a lot of off-speed pitches to them yesterday, so they're not getting caught up on that off-speed pitch today. So again, it looks like they've gone home, done their homework, and
Lara Andrews pokes one through the left side, and it's the 3rd straight inning that New Zealand have base runners. Lara Andrews finds a gap. She's been on base twice today.
again, another great display of hitting from the captain. She's actually been on base every at-bat against Japan from yesterday's and today's game.
That's true. She came in for the pinch hit in the last inning. That's a great call, Justine. Leading by example.
Yes.
The leader of the team as Andrews is on first, and then go to one of the up-and-coming players in Lace Tongiano. Currently playing her softball at East Stroudsburg University, U.S. college that is having increasing connections to New Zealand softball players. And a hard hit shot to left field. 2 runners aboard, and New Zealand continues to create a little bit of pressure.
Lace almost has really open batting stance, looking like she's wanting that outside pitch. She was able to drive that through the third base shortstop.
Tyarn Bromhead Lamalu. Runners on first and second. Here in Australia, her mom in attendance, a former White Sox player herself. It's to watch her daughter have a runner in scoring position against the world #1.
What better situation to come into the batter's box? These are the kind of situations you want as a batter.
Making her White Sox senior squad debut. Bromhead Lamalu puts it in play. It's a nice pickup at second from Suto. Out is retired. That almost eats its way through. It's going to be 2 runners in scoring position.
Yeah, it was almost hard enough to get past that second baseman, number 3.
Suto's made a few plays today, and they're going to have to now rely on the teenager, Yvonne Gibson. Gibson goes swinging. Everyone saying she's got an infectious personality on this team, does Gibson. Just turned 17 a few days ago. Ball misses the zone, and New Zealand have a run. Ball slips away, Andrews scores, and New Zealand are on the board.
I think if anything was passing that catcher, Lara was going to take the odds and run home.
They've been thrown out on the base paths 2 times before. The intent still there. And a patient approach at the plate from Gibson forces a mistake from the pitcher and catcher. It's the first run of the weekend for New Zealand. It's a feel-good moment there, Justine, I'm sure.
Yeah, New Zealand are going to be happy with a run on the board here. Give them the confidence to push some more runners around the bases, I'm sure.
Now Gibson is looking to double the run total for New Zealand.
You can also hear their dugouts a little bit louder too.
Swing and a miss. So Nakamura dials one up to get out of the inning, but New Zealand finally rewarded for their pressure on the base path. They score 1. It's 5-1 through 3. Eric Balnar, Justine Smethurst calling the action with you. Georgie Trickett, our third member of our crew, has been bringing us stories all day. Thank you very much for joining us all around Australia, all around the world, and shout out to everybody watching in New Zealand as well. 5-1 game right here. Japan scored their last 2 runs basically by care of the walk. No hits in an inning, all free bases. There's a long ball in the first. A 2-run shot from Sayari Yamauchi. That put them up 3-0. And New Zealand, you've got to be impressed with just their bounce back after a day where Japan had their number comprehensively. Today, it's quite a competitive game.
Yeah, it is a competitive game. And although New Zealand have only scored 1 run, there have been a lot of runners left on base each innings as well. So there's been opportunity for them to score every innings.
They're probably a base hit away from this being a 5-3, 5-4 game. Left a couple runners out there. They just said at the start of the day they want to build on what they did yesterday. And I think you can tick that box right away. And it's only going to increase confidence, you'd imagine, for a showdown with Australia tonight under the lights at this field.
Yeah, they've certainly built from yesterday. It's a bit of chalk and cheese, the team that's turned out to play today.
Here's Risa Kawamura. 1 for 2 on the day so far. Singled, flew out to center field. It's the one that kick-started a great play from the youngster Poppy Priddle, who threw a runner out at third. This is chopped to the left field side, and leaping up to make the play is Lise Pettit. A couple nice defensive moments today for the White Sox.
It almost like Lise got her glove to that ball last minute there.
Can't let that go over your head, and she made sure it didn't.
No, in this situation, whatever it takes to get the job done.
Hiri Shimoyama.
Just miss it on the replay.
0 for 2 today. Shimoyama has an RBI. She had a sac fly in the first and put Japan on the scoreboard. She plays with a prolific side. Key part of Toyota. They've won the last 3 championships in the Diamond League. Now it's knocked to the right side of the field. That one drops in front of right fielder Danica Fariso. And there is a base runner here with one away.
That would be one of the toughest hits to swallow as a pitcher. I mean, what batter plans to hit it right there on the field?
Yeah, she got
it's
the
just
ball
dropped
in as well, right?
Yeah.
Softball gods generally have a way of evening things out, though. Yamauchi, 2018 World Cup representative, hit the home run earlier today. She was noted in the notes before, a big power bat from the left side, and that came to fruition all the way back in inning number 1.
Yeah, we'd be looking to just contain Yamauchi, keeping the ball nice and low and keep it on the ground.
Well, the ball was on the ground and it was smashed up the middle for a base hit. It's back-to-back base hits after the White Sox hadn't conceded a base hit since the top of the second inning, and that was an infield single. The last ball before that left the infield was from Yamauchi, the one that went over the fence, and now they've gone back-to-back base hits.
Yeah, and Tanisha almost looked like she got a glove to that ball.
Yeah, pretty plucky effort defensively for New Zealand. They're throwing their body in this.
Mm-hmm.
And making the world champions work for it. They've won a World Cup. They've won an Olympic gold. They're ranked world number 1. I don't know if even your best debater, maybe from the United States, I don't know if they could win an argument that says this isn't the best international side in the world. This one with a charge to left field. Nakamizo back, and it is gone. It hugs the line, and Nakamizo with a 3-run blast, and Japan charge way in front.
That almost off the bat didn't look like it was going to go the distance or past the foul ball line. But Nakamizo's just turned hard enough on that ball, give it enough power to get it over the fence.
One of the ones as a pitcher, you pray it pushes a little to the left, and one as a batter, you're trying to blow that ball to stay fair. Hug the line, it's a 3-run shot.
Similar to Yamauchi, you just can't afford to have that ball, sit a little bit high in that batting zone, because these are the best batters in the world. They will punish that kind of pitch.
Here's Kanakudo. Lots of things to point to from this game from a New Zealand perspective. Well, right back to the pitcher, and Hokamo back on it. And there's the second out of the inning.
Yeah, Tanisha did a good job there to knock that down. And had plenty of time to throw that runner out at 1.
Suto has had a nice game at second, 0 for 2 today. He's with the Shining Vega in the Diamond League. A league full of professional players, company teams.
Spaceship buses.
Well, that's the Shining Vega, right?
The
spaceship bus. How professional are we talking here, Justine? You got to live it. What do each of the clubhouses? What is your training facility like? What do you have access to as a softballer in Japan?
Oh, we had a full training facility. So we had
to the left side, and a diving catch.
What an
by Haley Breakwell.
Really
Caller
put her body on the
Sports Center. It's 2 highlight reel plays.
Yes, New Zealand have had 2 of them.
She had the barehanded catch at second. She's got the diving play at short. Wow, Haley Breakwell. A few feel-good moments for New Zealand in this game, despite the 8-1 scoreline. It's really the long ball that's made the big difference. 5 of the runs accounted from some pitches that were left out over the plate and that they punished them for.
Yeah, and as I said earlier, if you just leave those the rise ball, if they don't move or they just sit a little bit high above the plate, the good batters are going to get hold of them.
Well, a new pitcher, it's Misaki Katsumata, who will move in the circle. She has come in at the end of the game in both of the appearances for Japan so far during their 7-3 win over Australia and their big 12-0 win over New Zealand yesterday.
What Katsumata did really well yesterday was she threw a really good off-speed pitch that dropped just before the plate that New Zealand got caught out on quite a few times. So it'll be interesting to see from a New Zealand batting point of view how they turn up in the box, whether or not they decide to go for that pitch, maybe stand up the front of the box or leave that as the ball.
Katsumata, the 26-year-old, is literally the apprentice to Ueno, the Japanese legend of the game. They both pitch for the same club. She'll come in after Ueno, often playing for big camera. She comes in late in the game. She's played in a couple World Cups.
And she's got a very similar motion to Ueno as well. You can tell that they're from the same club.
Well, you're talking right before that highlight reel play from Breakwell and the theme of Japanese clubs. The training, like what access, when we say training facility, I mean, it's different. We're at a facility right here, but, you know, it's a clubhouse, nice grandstand. They got a canteen in here.
We're in Japan, our training facility was, we had our training field. We had a gymnasium, we had a pool. Our company also had a soccer club and athletics team, so there was a full athletics track and soccer field within our facilities as well. So there was no reason why you couldn't perform more. You had everything at your fingertips.
No reason you couldn't get better at your craft, or at least work at it.
100%. When that's your job and, you know, you're working 9 to 5 as a full-time athlete, that's the luxury of being a full-time player.
Haley Breakwell goes swinging at the first pitch. This one popped back. That one goes foul. It is such an interesting point. You see these players on New Zealand with these full-time jobs. They don't get to spend their whole day around a gym, a softball field, training with their teammates. It's full-time hours that these Kiwis and the Aussies put into softball. They spend hours and hours, tens of hours every week at a field, around a diamond, in a gym, working on their craft. But they also have, they're full-time softballers and full-time workers at the same time. Makes a big difference when you can just be a full-time softballer.
100%. Finding, you know, I look back now on my playing career and I think, how did I find that much time to, you know, for softball with everything else that I had going on in my life? You know, early morning gyms, late night trainings, multiple times a week. It was actually much easier to be a softball player as a professional athlete than when I took on full-time work.
You add the layer of things like, I mean, on the last Canada Cup team for New Zealand, and there were 6 mums on that team. So you're juggling family life.
And there are a couple of mums on the Australian team too.
There's a lot of, it's pretty incredible just to get yourself at the level to go toe-to-toe with the best, and the best get to live in a softball training environment.
Yeah, I think both Australia and New Zealand do very well to compete and be in the positions that they are, considering it isn't a full-time job for these girls. Imagine if it was full-time. Imagine what they would be producing.
I'm sure some of the Spirit players will tell you that I'm sure this summer it's been a huge moment in their development, getting to play 4 different international teams before the end of November and middle of January. You also have your national championship sandwiched in the middle of there. That ball gets away. New Zealand have a runner in scoring position for Lise Pettit.
And I've watched every one of these tournaments because lucky enough they've all been in Queensland, and you've just seen the Australian team go strength by strength each tournament, and that comes with the level of exposure to international softball that they're getting. You just can't beat it.
Pettit, a web and content advisor for a council in New Zealand. Fouls one back for her life outside of softball. This game is a funny one, right? It's a game that's determined by small margins and how you can capitalize off mistakes. Japan have accounted for 5 of their runs based on a couple pitches that just missed a spot and were crunched over the fence. Now a bunt in a soft spot as well. Quick on it, safe at third. How's Pettit hustling down the line? Nakamizo had a quick throw. That transfer was right out of the glove, but it's runners on first and third.
Gosh, she was quick to get to first base on that play, wasn't she? And then he disguised that bunt well.
Now it's the at-bat for Danica Fariso. Came into the game as a defensive substitution earlier in the game. Runners on first and third and nobody out.
I'm interested to see what Japan does with runners on first and third.
What are the options? Walk us through the menu here, Justine Smethurst.
Well, I guess it's dependent on what the runner at third does. We're either looking at a straight throw over to second base to take the steal going over, or we're looking for a cut in the middle to play the runner that's stealing from third to home. So it depends on what movement we get from the runner at third base.
Look, you kind of learn some tendencies as the game goes on, and New Zealand have been quick to pull the trigger on steal attempts so far this game. They've generated their run doing just that.
Doing just that. And what that shows, showing the bunt in that moment, is we were able to see what position the players were moving to. So the shortstop and the second base both moving over to that second base.
It's got to be a confident connection between pitcher and catcher here as well. Ball slips behind the backstop. It'll probably be a run. No guarantees.
I'd say with the speed at Breakwell on 3, anything that's going loose to the back fence will be she'll be taking the steal home.
Well, it'll be knocked towards left field. Does it stay fair? It just drops foul. Good charge in from Tsukamoto in left field.
And with that play too, I mean, take that play from a shortstop outfield point of view. Do you leave it or you take a diving play, you know, risking that runner stealing home from 3?
Well, a big moment for Fariso. No outs, runners on first and third. There goes the runner, won't even wager a throw. She's trying to be mindful of the runner at third, and that gets a big round of applause from Haley Breakwell at third as well.
Yeah, really interesting that Japan didn't make a play on that. It's rare that they won't have a go at that runner running to 2, and it's not like it was an aggressive steal from first base.
Fariso, one of the more experienced players on this New Zealand roster, trying to keep building with every game. Oh, and a great take from Ide. And now a conversation happening between the umpire at third and Craig Wallace. I missed what the call was. Either way, New Zealand putting some pressure. Is it a pitch clock violation? There's been a couple signals to kind of speed it up a little bit. You can't see it on screen, but we are working on a pitch clock here. We have view of it down the right field line. I'm not too sure, though. It was signaled by something from, I think, the first base coach for New Zealand.
Looks like pitch clock had expired. The count is 3 balls, 2 strikes.
It's going to be a full count regardless for Fariso. Well, she puts the ball in play. Kawamura moves under it, makes the play. They're going to take the throw on. It's a good throw down the line. And it's going to be a double play. Kawamura takes the runner on, tags Blake Bleakwell out at home. It's some nice defensive work from Japan and that aggressive intent from New Zealand.
Yeah, Kawamura positioned herself really well under that ball, and you know, that throw to home on that play was just spot on the money.
We're going to see what the play was at third as well. I think that's what the discussion is about. Last night we did see an obstruction call, by the way. But I think they're actually having a conversation about the runner at third and if she tagged out and left the base early, because they did chuck the ball back to second. There's a couple things that could be at play here.
So Japan are going for the triple out, are they?
They were, yeah. I think from Georgie, who's right on the field, letting us know that I think that's what the conversation was about, was did the runner leave early at second? Because throughout all of that, a runner tagged from second to third. Could have been a triple play. Here's Poppy Priddle. Well, it comes down to a couple of things. This is the runner at third. She was out anyway, so no obstruction. You think that all good? Well, that's what the umpire's calling anyways. Here's Poppy Priddle. Japan punishing New Zealand for mistakes. A couple pitches left over the plate. The 2 home runs equals 5 runs. In 1 inning, 4 walks equals a couple runs as well. The free bases, small margins making big differences in this game. Japan have now thrown out 3 runners on the base paths as well. New Zealand have had 2 base runners in all 4 of their innings so far. They've been caught stealing 3 times. They've made some great defensive plays. 8-1 doesn't quite accurately describe how close the competition has been.
No, I wouldn't say it's a true reflection on what we've seen throughout the game. New Zealand, every batting innings, they've managed to grind and get get runners on bases. They just haven't been able to push them around to that home plate.
Let's show, though, if you make a small mistake versus a team like Japan, you can get punished in a big way. Maybe another lesson learned for these players, getting to play against a world #1 team for the first time in a while.
Yeah, just working on that pitch location. I mean, you take, as you said, you take out the 2 home runs of the game, and the scoreline looks very different.
It's crazy that 2 pitches can make a difference in 5 runs, right? This is a game that hundreds of pitches can be thrown, a couple hundred in a game. And,
yeah, it's a game of inches.
Yeah. Game of inches, game of moments.
Yes, very true.
Well, here's a chance for Marama Makia. Makia's played some good second base in this game.
I think McKee's looked really solid in the batter's box today, just really controlled. I haven't seen her go for anything, any balls. Really worked the pitch counts.
Certainly an effort to be proud of if you're watching at home in New Zealand. Now a quick word, I think, from the pitching coach. And these are pretty dangerous pitchers. I mean, Katsumata is a pitcher for one of the top clubs in the world in Japan, always in the pointy end of the business historically. Pitching with the best pitcher in the world historically. And their starting pitcher, Nakamura, one of the best college pitchers we've seen, who's risen through the ranks and getting an opportunity here. Was excellent versus Australia last night. It's not like these aren't quality pitchers that New Zealand's applying some pressure on. They've been a base hit away from being right in this game. This at-bat included. What's the chat in the circle at a time like this? 3-0 count, runners on the corners.
I think with a pitcher throwing at 3 balls, no strikes, it would be just bringing her back to what her role is, focusing on the catcher's glove. maybe then the infield discussing on the location where they're hoping for that ball to go in the infield so they can make a play on it.
Bit of a grounding chat.
Bit of a grounding chat.
She finds the strike zone. Still a hitter's count for Marama Makia.
I also think it's quite common in Japan when you're at 3-0 for time to be called, whether it's the catcher or the coach.
Really?
To come out, yeah.
That's something that happened to you a lot. If you're in a 3-0 count, someone comes out for a chat.
Yeah, the catcher would call time and just slow the game down. Because sometimes the pitcher can, not know that they're speeding up or just be in their head a little bit. Just bring them back down.
Comeback victory last night versus the Aussie Spirit in Australia. Japan did a really good job of that, slowing the game down and sort of dictating time on their terms. Swing and a miss. A great battle back from Katsumata. New Zealand threatened, but they leave a couple of runners on. And Japan maintain their 8-1 lead. Well, let's head down to the third member of our commentary team. Georgie Trickett is standing by. Down to you, Georgie.
Thank you, Eric. I am here with Vinnie Willis, who is one of the former presidents of the Brisbane Softball Association. Vinnie, what's it like to see international softball back at Downy Park?
Well, to be quite honest, it made my old heart beat faster as I walked through here today. I mean, there's one thing that BSA does very well, it's to host an international event, and they've done their fair share, let me assure you.
Well, I think that's a really interesting point. Many people might not know that this is actually something that Downy Park has done a lot in the past. What were some of the memorable matches for you?
Well, I don't remember this one, but it was the venue for the very first World Series that Australia ever hosted in the 80s. But there's certainly been a few others, especially in the lead up to the very first Olympics that softball played in, and subsequent ones, because the Elite Training Centre was here for a very long time. And they were the days of fantastic softball right here on this diamond.
I mean, you did mention the Olympics, so I'm going to ask you, how important is it for softball to get into those Olympic Games and to be a part of an Olympic Games?
I'm not sure that you could measure that, but it is absolutely vitally important that we get in. It just portrays our sport to the world on a whole different level. And we've always had fantastic players and umpires for that matter. So I'm really, really hoping that when we host our own Olympic Games here, that softball is very much one of the participants.
I think Justine would agree with that.
100%, there's no question. Softball is an Olympic sport and it should be in the Olympic Games, every Olympic Games.
That was great stuff from Georgie Trickett. And what's amazing about that interview is Hataro Tsukamoto leads things off here. Slashes one to the left field side. It's a leadoff base runner. What's amazing about that, Justine, is if she did that interview exactly 4 years ago, she would have needed a snorkel or a kayak or something, because there was a significant flood that wiped through here, and you might get a shot later on of these dugouts. The water was above, right at where those dugouts were. They had to get whole new grandstand replaced because the water went there. And then they had just recovered, and the cyclone in 2025 whipped through again. There was a flood. It was a big flood. It wasn't as big as what it was in 2025, but caused all kinds of damage nonetheless. And it's a very resilient community here in the Brisbane Softball Association that wiped out their grand finals. The water was above that dugout. Crazy.
Yeah, and I think the association and the committee and the volunteers just did everything that they could to get the park up and running and back to scratch. So well done to all of them involved.
Very proud softball association, founded in 1965. This park in the 80s, big part of a women's sporting precinct. That's where a lot of these facilities around here got built. They kind of share an area with a hockey club as well. You got to spend some significant time in this ballpark.
Yeah, I've played many games at Downy Park, both at a club level and a national level and international level. But yeah, this is my home association.
Ide to right field, leaping up is a catch from Fariso, and it's a double play!
What a play! What a play!
Add it to the highlight reel plays New Zealand has had in the field.
There's not many times you can say that you're, pulling a double play from a catch in right field to first base.
That throw had to be on the money and quick from Fariso in right field. It was awesome. What they had? They had the double play up the middle that went from backhand to bare hand.
Yeah, I mean, credit to Ide. She hit that ball hard to right field, but just too hard at the end.
I hope somebody cuts up a little highlight reel package for New Zealand from this game against the world #1. It's hard to make these plays against these players. They're fast, they're quick, they're on it. You got to make quick decisions.
Yeah, but their defense have showed up today, haven't they? We've had multiple plays of that caliber today.
You can't say New Zealand are going down because of indecision, right? They've taken the game on. They've been caught out on the base pass a few times, but you've seen their game plan. They haven't really deviated from it. It's just go at Japan.
Yeah, they've certainly brought it today. And again, the scoreline isn't a reflection of what we're seeing.
Yeah, there was the play there. That infield double play was probably the highlight reel, but Poppy Priddle threw a runner out at third as well.
I don't know. I liked the Poppy Priddle play at right field. I mean, how many times do you see a double play from, right field to first base?
Lise Pettit earlier in the game, leaping up in left field with a catch. There's been a few of them. I need a top 10 highlight reel play just from that.
We might have to do a poll on Facebook.
Yeah, get it out there on the Instagram account. Which one do you like the most?
Yeah. Pick your favorite.
I mean, they've been excellent. I'm going backhand to barehand because that was cool. I understand that play right there, throwing the double play from right field to first base. It's got its merits, but there's been some excellent plays across the board. Either way, it's a walk to Fujimura, and now Risa Kawamura. They're showing some intent again. It just helps the pitcher out. And Tanisha Hukamu, I bet you she will be in the circle at some point again tonight. A few hours off and head back against Australia.
Yeah, have a bit of a break, cool down, refresh, reframe the mind, and then come back out for tonight's game.
What does arm care look like when you're pitching 2 games in a day? We saw Katsumata do it earlier today, but
I guess it just depends.
Ground ball over towards second. A nice block from Marama Makia, and she makes another nice play, and it's a 0 on the board.
And that's the exact play that you'd be looking for as a pitcher, Tanisha, just getting that pitch low, keeping giving the field the ground ball so they can get out of the innings.
James, 7 after 5, right?
3 outs. They need.
So it's an 8-1 game as we head to the bottom of the 5th. New Zealand batting. It's the 3-out warning. New Zealand needs to generate a run or this game will be called because of the run rule. Katsumata back on the mound. Justine, just before that play, we were kind of chatting. Arm care. What does that look like? You got a double header. So walk me through what a pitcher might go through if you were expected to pitch in a morning game and then a night game 6 hours later.
Yeah, I guess it just depends how long in between the games are as to how you choose to maintain that arm. If the games were
4 hours, let's do it like this.
If it were me, I'd probably do a full cool down and then potentially ice up and then restart again.
Sounds like some hard work.
It is hard work. And I'll tell you, it's hard work to be a relief pitcher as well because you're throwing just as many pitches out in the dugout and maintaining that arm for a longer period of time.
And you don't know when you're going to come into the game. And if you are coming into the game, you probably know it's going to be a big spot. Either there's runners on or it's a narrow lead to protect or you're trying to hold the team in the game.
Yeah, in the relief position, I would always say if I was doing the bullpen, I always wanted to be 5 pitches away from coming in.
That's your warning. Give me 5.
Yep.
Not minutes.
I was, yeah,
just five
five pitches away.
And if it was a doubleheader, so say New Zealand were playing right after this game, or, this pitcher on the mound right now very well could pitch the next game as well. You wouldn't cool down? You just kind of stay
I'd go straight into it. It's almost nicer to go, back to back, because then you're just maintaining your arm. You don't have to warm down.
Laura Andrews pops one up. She has been on base all 3 times in her at-bats or in her plate appearances, I should say, versus Japan so far.
Yeah, I don't want to jinx her, but Japan are yet to get Lara out.
There's no such thing as the commentator's curse, Justine Smethurst. Don't believe what the players will tell you.
Okay, that's new to me.
Well, you've just transitioned from being a player to a commentator now. Now you're on this side.
Okay, so I get to say what I want now.
You get to say what you want. Yeah, there's no commentator's curse.
Why didn't you tell me that yesterday?
Andrews takes a pitch on the inside. What about the mental aspect of it? That's just the arm care, the cool down, the warm up. I feel like the challenge is staying sharp for that intense block of 2 games in a row as well, or this one has popped out towards center field. And I told you there's a commentator's curse, and there you go. No, but what about the mental aspect of it? Because that seems like a big ask to say, hey, Justine, I need you to be sharp for, the 3 hours and the 3 hours in between and the 3 hours at the game block before.
Yeah, but you're not sharp for that entire period. So you need to, as a pitcher, you need to be mindful of where you're spending your focus. So for me as a pitcher, even during the game, no one can spend 7 hours, even if you're throwing 7 innings, no pitcher can be in full focus for the full 7 innings of the game. So for me, it was just understanding where that focus point was for each pitch and being able to pull away from that every time just to make sure that mental load wasn't too heavy.
So you cool down your brain just like you cool down your body.
Cool down your brain, yes.
Great insights from Justine Smethurst, the bronze medalist at the 08 Games. A hit up the middle, a great backhand play, the turn, the fire. It was almost spectacular from the shortstop, Kana Kudo, who has had an excellent tournament so far. But it's 5 turns at the plate for New Zealand. They've had base runners in all 5 innings.
Even if you look at the stretch from Chiyama at first base as well, she did really well to knock down that ball.
While
keep it in
the
front
toe
of her
as well on the bag.
Yes.
Tayyar Bromhead Lamalu reached once already. The 1-pitch warning, a double play ends the game. New Zealand need a run to extend it. It's been a feisty effort from the Kiwis in the game so far. Lots of great defensive plays, but 2 homers. 1 in the first, 1 in the fourth from Japan. A 2-run shot and a 3-run shot. There's the big difference. Ground ball to short. There's 1. 2 for the ball game. There it is. Kudo to Suto to Shimayama, and Japan survive a plucky effort from New Zealand. They withstand the pressure and improve to 3-0.
Yeah, as I said earlier, the scoreline of 8-1 I don't think is a true reflection of how New Zealand really played today and brought the energy and intent to the game. There was just a couple of home runs that kind of blew that scoreline out there. I think if they continue to build that momentum, there's good things to look ahead for this team for the rest of the tournament.
Yeah, a game that is not as well, the margins are not as big as the score line suggests. You look back in the first inning, it was just a pitch left over the plate. Didn't quite bite the way they wanted it to bite. A 2-run shot by Sayori Yamauchi, and that was a moonshot. I mean, great player. She was 2 for 2 with a walk today, scored 3 times, and the same thing in the 4th inning. Nakamizo hit the 3-run homer that at that point it had been 4 innings where there was a ball that left the infield for New Zealand, and then it was just cranked over the left field wall. Barely stayed fair, too. I mean, that ball a foot to the left.
Yeah, she did well to get her hands to that ball. As I said, off the bat, I thought that was going foul, but it just stayed within fair territory.
Great sign of respect as well from the Japanese, who went to the middle of the diamond and bowed to their counterparts as a thank you to everybody around the diamond. So much respect just oozes from the Japanese softball and diamond sports culture in general.
Yeah, it's very much a part of their culture and tradition. Every game with introduction, you'll bow to the crowd, and closing as well after every game, just as a sign of respect.
Well, and then if we keep looking at the game here, that fourth inning, the 5 walks in an inning ends up costing 2 runs. Free bases end up being impactful. Well, Georgie is down on the field right now with a member of the White Sox. Georgie, down to you.
Thanks, Eric. I've got Hayley Breakwell with me. Hayley, that was an awesome match. And like Justine said, I don't think the scoreline actually reflected just what a tough contest it was.
Yeah, no, agreed. I think today was obviously much better than yesterday. We put the ball in play. We put some pressure on them. They made some mistakes, right? So we just got to keep doing that. But, yeah, agreed that the score probably didn't – we played better than the score looked, yeah.
Talk to me about the fielding, because there was some really quite exceptional plays that happened out there.
Yeah, we've been working on our defense probably the past year or so, really trying to shore that up because obviously for us, our pitchers, the ball gets put in play, so our defense has got to be strong. So today we were able to show that. I think yesterday we didn't play as well on the defensive end, so we shored that up today, which was good.
And what do you guys take away from this game?
I think good things, putting the ball in play and the good defense, putting some pressure on them. But then I think we need to capitalize a little bit more on their mistakes and not let our mistakes in the field, not let them capitalize on those.
It was brilliant softball to watch. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Justine, that was actually summarized very well in that last statement from Hayley. It's about capitalizing on opportunities when we have our chances and not letting them capitalize when we have ours. And it was kind of the reverse for Japan. I mean, Japan and New Zealand have remarkable similar stats in terms of base runners, hits in this game, but Japan, when an opportunity just kind of came, they jumped on it, and that's why they're world number 1.
Yeah, and what I really liked about Hayley's reflection of the game is, what we were seeing up here is how they were feeling in the dugout as well. The too many runners left on base. The fielding, I think, some extraordinary plays from their field, and that's a reflection of all the training and hard work that they've been doing, and understanding that, these international teams are going to get hits off our pitchers, but we just have to be better fielders.
Yeah, I might grab you here while we have an Olympic medalist in here. That term damage minimization you hear a lot at this level, just out of that route of accepting that there's going to be base runners in there. Is that something you consciously have to shift your mindset as the game progresses as well?
I don't think it matters internationally what team you play. This day and age, there's not many score lines that sit at 0-0. So, majority of the time, we're facing multiple runs for each game. So we need to expect that there are going to be runs hitting the scoreboard, but, from a batting point of view, we need to just hit more runs in.
Well, Justine, I loved hearing your insights from a pitcher of your caliber at the international level the last couple of days. Thank you very much for joining us in the broadcast booth.
No, thank you for having me. I've really enjoyed it.
And a big thanks to Georgie Trickett. Some excellent stuff in the field. The whole team at Spacequake Sports and Softball Australia. Everybody on KO at Game Time Sport. Shout out to everybody tuning in from New Zealand. An effort to be proud of from your White Sox today. Japan, what can you say more about them? They're the world number 1 for a reason. They continue to show it. My name is Eric Bolnar. Thank you so much for tuning in and keeping us company. More softball coming up in about an hour's time with Japan and Australia. We'll see you then.